this is another interesting topic for the IT technology leaders. And you all might be knowing that nowadays the Industry 4.0, robotic process automation, and all those low-cost automation are no more the buzzwords of the industry, but that has become the necessity of the hour, I can say, and is very much essential. Gone are the days when it was called as the buzzword and hi-fi, the technology matters, but now each and every organization is trying to adopt to all this kind of technologies solutions. Why these technology solutions? It is one of the important questions that everyone should have in the mind. And the answer to this is the only one and the only answer, and that is all these technologies all these technologies help you to accelerate your business processes, automate your business processes, add value to the business, and most important thing is it helps you to get an edge over the customers. So this is the reason that all of the companies are adopting to this kind of technologies. And especially during the last 1.5 years, you must have been observing that more and more companies were trying to adapt to digitalization. The only reason was it has helped many companies to accelerate their business and add up to their business value. So this was the only reason that many companies have started adopting to digitalization and various industry 4.0 concepts. One thought goes wherein it was said that during the last 20 years, the amount of digitalization has that gone is far lower than the amount of digitalization that has gone in the industry since last 1 year. So it is almost 20 times that the digitalization has been adopted by the various industries in the last 1.5 years. That was because of the pandemic situation, and every industry wanted to go in with the digitalization solutions and to speed up the manufacturing process and get an edge over the customers. So this was the reason. And having said this context, we have today a very interesting topic, and that is spelling a bright future with Industry 4.0. So it's quite relevant in the current situation. So let us try to find out as to what are the opinions of these panelists over here. And today we have an excellent panelist here. And the first question that comes to my mind, and if Mr. Ranga allows me, I would like to ask him his views about this first question. And the question is, IoT is always considered as a gateway information. So, Ranga, according to you, what is the role of IoT in integration, data intelligence, and whether it leads to any kind of cost effectiveness? So, Ranga, we would like to hear from you about this particular questions. Over to you, Ranga.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. The digitalization as far as manufacturing is not good. We wanted.
Ranga, your audio is wavering.
Yeah, the audio is not that clear, Ranga.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, you should hold it close to your mouth.
Yes. It is digitalization is not new as far as manufacturing is specifically 100%. But with the compelling time, the focus has got shifted more towards digitalization for two reasons. Number one is high dependency on manual work. Number two, asset utilization. To make it more meaningful, we started collecting data from the machines. So Industry 4.0, although it is not a new term for manufacturing, so the intelligence which we have drawn out to address the two problems of elimination of manual process and utilizing the assets to the larger extent. So we were in a position to bring in value addition to the process or to the machine or additional processes which are coming in between by way of drawing intelligence out of it. So what we wanted to focus more on is to understand the hidden facts, which we are not in position to identify when we are trying to do doing the same thing in the traditional process. I'll try to illustrate with a small example. Everyone knows how much is the machine downtime, but hidden downtime, which is there, will be more visible only when you collect data through digitalization. We could save somewhere around 22 to 25 minutes of hidden downtime just because of digital process and drawing intelligence. So this is that significant.
Yeah, Ranga, very well said. As you correctly mentioned that it will help to reduce the hidden downtime. So that is more important in the current scenario, because sometimes you may not know as to all of a sudden certain machines will stop working, then it will lead to major downtime. So according to you, the IoT is considered as a gateway of information, and that really helps to pinpoint the hidden downtime, and also will lead to thus cost effectiveness. Agree with you.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt again. The another important factor is eliminating the manual processes.
Yes, yes.
Because of pandemic, the quality of the quality inspectors, we do not have that much. So it has created a customer is getting impacted.
Yes.
So converting those manual processes to digitalization has really helped us in bringing more value addition to the customer.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Ranga, for sharing this insight. And let us move on to another aspect, another dimension. And this I'm going to ask Mr. Manoranjan. And the question, Manoranjan, that I would like to ask and get your views is, with IoT digitally transferring the manufacturing industry in a great way, because that's what we have been witnessing over the years. Do you feel that data intelligence can promise better ROIs for the business, for the industry, and thus it will add value to the business in a more effective? Are you in sync with what the statement says? Does digitally transferring the manufacturing industry will add value? So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Rajeev, you said that whatever data is there in the manufacturing industry and data are collected through the IoT devices are really meaningful. They can be generated meaningful information, meaningful dashboards on real-time basis. In our kind of industry, what we have done related to this on the IoT side, that we introduce because since we are there into the manufacturing, and then we are shipping a lot of cement bags to the country at different places. The main problem was there to how do we reduce the TAT turnaround time of. There we found we implemented this IoT devices, which really it has given us a very good insight of what was happening earlier to the implementation, and then what has changed. The automation had changed after the implementation. The TAT, the turnaround time, we could reduce it by 50%. Earlier it was taking 8 hours. Once the truck was getting in and going out from the plant, it was taking 8 hours. After the implementation of these IoT devices and IoT solution, we reduced it to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And whatever things were like the dispatch, it has gone on a very high volume. Because of that, then production also has to increase. And after implementing this kind of devices, the IoT devices into this and IoT solutions into our manufacturing area, we could collect lot many data which we were not having prior to that, because those data we were collecting either onto the manual registers, or manually it was calculated, or manually it was printed as a different kind of reports, we could now see that thing. Because of those data, we could generate a real-time dashboard. Based on the dashboard, the logistic team and the manufacturing team, what they're also identifying that wherever there is a demand, they can increase the capacity. Wherever the demand is going down, they can decrease that kind of thing. So it's really working online. So what I can say is that the data which is being captured through these devices are really meaningful, and they are also secure, because since they are running on our own premises, we have not gone on to any other agency. These are all running on our own premises, so the data are also secure. And then these data are also being shared with all the top management. They can see whatever the dashboards are there. They can go through those dashboards, and based on dashboards, they can take an immediate decision, like which plant should run on what capacity and which plant should go for maintenance kind of things. So these things are possible just because of this IoT things has come in place.
Yeah, well said, Manoranjan, and certainly this in this connected world, it helps to capture the data on a dashboard. I remember the olden days wherein if there was any problem, then the factory manager or the maintenance manager had to rush immediately to the shop floor. So he didn't have any insight on his computer as to what is happening on the shop floor. So you rightly said that now this it is helping everyone to find out what is happening at the shop floor. But the question was that whether this will help us to achieve the better ROI for industries and add value. Yes, of course, to some extent you have mentioned that it will help to add value. But the hidden part of the question was whether it can help us to promise better ROI for manufacturing industries. What's your view on that?
See, the investment, what we could do, that we have done that on these kind of implementation. And earlier we had planned that the ROI can be achieved within, say, 1.5 year time. That was our agenda. But after the implementation, we could achieve the ROI within 6 months of time, because a lot of calculation has gone in to calculating. Correct. Because the moment we reduce the turnaround time, the production has to be increased because the dispatch has increased. The moment the production has increased, the sale people also got a lot of pressure that they have to consume entire the production into the market. Right. So on that, we got the sales has increased. So by that thing, what we can say, that getting all these kind of devices, if you put into the solution, the ROIs are really fast. It's really fast, and it is faster than our assumption. What we assumed that we could achieve the ROI within 1.5 year of time, but we could achieve it in 6 months of time. And based on that ROI, now the entire thing we have rolled out to all the places at all of the plant. Correct. Looking at this ROI achievement, most of our manufacturing industries are now going for these kind of solutions by their own.
Yeah. So I think I agree with you, and going ahead in the future also, this connected world, so if we can call it connected machines of connected world, will definitely is going to have the bright future for Industry 4.0. So that's what I can draw the slight conclusion from your views. So let us quickly move on to another dimension wherein nowadays you must be observing that a lot of companies are moving to cloud for their important critical workloads. So rather than having it in-house, people are finding the options of moving to public cloud or hybrid cloud as the better thing because it has its own advantages. So keeping that in mind, I would like to move on to Mr. Vimal and ask him one question. How, according to you, the data cloud services can improve two, three factors? One is scalability, another is data sharing, and whether that is going to have a positive effect on effective process excellence. So what, according to you, Mr. Vimal, the benefits of the data clouds services for scalability and data sharing? Mr. Vimal, your views, please.
Thank you, Rajeev. Really appreciate that question. So from our perspective, I think it's a fantastic one to ask, and not only for manufacturing, but so many industries, right? When you talk about Snowflake, for example, as a data cloud, which is exclusively on the public cloud, what we are trying to do is eliminate data silos. Now, in the early days, again, there's no right or wrong. It was the architecture earlier, where you had different data silos. You wanted to have different data marts, for example. You would potentially have one for the finance team, one for the operations team, one for the marketing team. And then slowly the concept of data warehousing sort of came in. But then as the explosion of data happened and a lot of data started getting generated, not only from, let's say, a structured database, but also semi-structured data. And everyone spoke about IoT sensor data, for example, today. People are now looking to hold all of that in a single source of truth or a single repository. It is only when you have all your data that you generate within your organization, could be your sensor data, could be your core application data, could be a whole lot of data that you have from a legacy perspective. All of these, whether it's from your machines, whether it's from your plant and operations, your ERP data, for example, along with all your sensor data in one common platform, is when you can truly start making a lot of sense and do a lot of business-driven, data-driven decisions around that. To give you an example on the scalability, obviously from our perspective, we are hosted on the public cloud. So we have near infinite scale. Some of our customers host as high as 70 to 100 petabytes of analytically available data at any given point in time. So truly the cloud helps customers to have as much data as they can in a single source of truth. And then because of the architecture from our perspective, customers can now act on this really vast sources of data from multiple different streams, whether it's real time or batch ingestion, and then start doing insights, whether it's predictive insights, whether it is running data science operations on them or running a traditional BI dashboarding kind of reports. To answer your question around data sharing, I think this is a unique feature from a Snowflake perspective, where we are now enabling the data economy globally. We have more than 500 data partners on our data marketplace, where customers or even partners can host their data on our data exchange. And anyone who's a Snowflake customer can readily have access to real-time data. Now, to give an example of a manufacturing organization who's done this really well, if you take the example of Komatsu, for example, they had a need of reducing unexpected downtime by enabling predictive maintenance. Now, they could combine a lot of their machine and sensor data and lifecycle data collected by the manufacturer with real-time feedback data generated by customer operators. And they could also inform predictive maintenance models with dynamic weather data, for example, which was coming back in real time from our data marketplace, where they could now figure out when machine performance could be adversely impacted. Now, when you talk about data sharing, you're not only living in your own organization silo, you're also working with a much larger and wider data ecosystem out there. So hope that answers your question, Rajeev.
Thank you so much. It very rightly answers the question. And I do agree with the point that it helps to reduce the downtime. So same on the lines where Mr. Ranga also told just now. So out of the way, I'm going and asking you a quick question, just within a 15-20 seconds, if you can answer. According to you, what has been the trend of manufacturing industries moving to cloud since last 5 years as compared to what it was 10 years back? So if you can answer that quickly.
Is it for me, Rajeev?
Yes. It's for
all right. So from my perspective, I think, to be honest with you, I'm seeing a huge trend of manufacturing companies moving a lot of use cases to public cloud. It's been a very hard year last year with COVID-19, but I do call it a great digital accelerator, because customers now realize the true value of public cloud, the availability of information accessible from anywhere, and the ability for you to centralize all your data sources in a common platform.
That's good. So I would like to invite attention of all the audience to what just now Vimal said. The movement to the cloud has been the great accelerator for businesses. Please note that point, because it's an accelerator word that has been used by Vimal. So nice of Vimal. So moving on to the next question, and again, I would like to invite Manoranjan for his views. More and more companies are adapting to cloud computing. That's what we said just now. So in your opinion, giving the due importance to security, because every time any workloads is shifted to the cloud, then we are worried about what about the security of our data. So giving the due importance to the cloud security, how cloud computing will help to enhance the agility and flexibility of business? So if I can ask that question again to Manoranjan.
Yeah. Our view on the moving onto the cloud is a little bit different. What is our view and my view, especially on this, is the public cloud are not yet ready to accept and are ready to provide the required infrastructure, required solution for the bigger enterprises. What we found that the startups or the mid-size of the company, they are moving and they are going onto the cloud. If you talk about the bigger or family business kind of thing, like in India, I'll not talk on the multinational kind of thing. The Indian family business company, they are still hesitating to moving onto the cloud just because of multi-region, the availability of the cloud. Once something goes wrong, the contract or the understanding with the cloud service provider, if it doesn't work, then what is the situation and where should we move from one cloud to the other cloud, or can we come back to the on-premises? Second thing, the data which are going out of the organization, lying onto the service providers infrastructure, though they are giving in writing that these are secure, but really are they secure? We have seen in the past, the bank data, the government's data, those are being hacked. The data which are there on country security are being leaked. So though even then, the service provider are saying, and they are giving it in writing that your data is safe. Looking at the past, still we don't have confidence that these data are really safe onto the public cloud. What we can also thought of, instead of going onto the public cloud, it is good to go for on a private cloud or mix of the cloud, mix cloud infrastructures kind of thing. The application which is required to run on the public cloud, like CRM, mobile application, they has to be there on the public cloud, where the critical data are not lying there. Their manufacturing company, the enterprise company, are going onto the cloud. But when you talk about the critical data, the confidential data is still, if the multinational company or the enterprise companies are still, they have their own data center, and they are integrating that data center with some of the applications which are there for the people who can use it on the public, like CRM or mobile application. This is what is my view on that.
Okay, so do you mean to say that the combination or the permutation, whether it is public, whether it is private, whether it is on-premise or hybrid, whatever it is, it will depend totally on the business model and what are the business goals and how they want to achieve the growth in the company. Can you correlate that it depends on the business goals and the business model?
Yeah, this is totally depend on the business process and business model. Like what kind of data are being really accessed by what kind of people. In a manufacturing company, the data are mostly accessed by the internal people. The data which are really required by the people who are there, the outside of the company, are really like CRM. You never know who are going to connect to the CRM application. There we need the cloud, the mobile application, which you never know when and from where the people are connecting to the mobile applications. That is required on the public cloud. But the critical data, which is really having some meaning and confidential data, are there on our own premises, and people are going for having those on premises, and then they are connecting it to the application which are running on the public cloud.
Okay, good. Quite a good insight we are getting on the topic from the eminent speakers, panelists. So one dimension I would like to add, and that is about nowadays, whatever we are doing, the most important factor is about creativity, about innovation, bringing about a cultural change in whatever you do. So that nowadays is playing a very important role. So when I spell out the word innovation, I would like to ask Mr. Vimal once again his views on this particular point. Do you feel that innovation coupled with whatever we are talking nowadays, artificial intelligence and all these things, so whether that combination is going to improve the efficiency of whatever processes we are following, whether it is going to overall increase the plant productivity? So what are your views on innovation coupled with artificial intelligence, Mr. Vimal?
Thanks for that question, Rajeev. Fantastic one as well. And I'd like to address this holistically, right? So from our perspective, like I spoke about, bringing data to a central store was very important as far as the migration to a cloud is concerned. And to Manoranjan's point, absolutely, there are customers who would really want to also have data present on the on-premise systems today. But increasingly, I think globally, if I can give some context, as well as in India, some of the most sensitive industries are now moving their entire data sources and applications, core applications to the public cloud. Absolutely, there are different customers with different maturity curves as well, and we have to account for that. But more often than not, I think we're seeing a big shift to move even core applications, including ERP systems, to the public cloud as well, whether it's manufacturing or any other CPG kind of companies. From our perspective, security is at the heart of Snowflake. We take security extremely seriously. Some of our largest customers are in the financial services, manufacturing, telco, and some sensitive government agencies as well. So data security is at the heart of any solution from our side. To also come back from the innovation standpoint, once you have data gathered at a central source and you have a lot of folks accessing and working on that data, you're not trying to build a lot of comprehensive AI-based algorithms which are not looking to do, for example, improving product quality, for example. You could now use this with machine learning libraries and frameworks which are rapidly evolving and run them on the Snowflake Data Cloud. We could actually help customers from avoiding replatforming or migrating your data unnecessarily. And as your data volumes start growing, all of these becomes extremely important. Now, when I spoke about breaking down of silos, now this could be across a supply chain management system, for example, an ERP system, an order fulfillment, or even your entire IoT ecosystem right now. So imagine if you were able to put all of them in a central store in a platform which is almost infinitely scalable, where you could start as low as a few gigabytes, and over a period of years, you could move to even multi-petabytes of data, all working at the same time, bringing efficiencies, bringing a lot of those innovations that we spoke about earlier.
Good. Thanks so much for that great insight. And what I can say is that whatever we have heard up till now from the eminent panelists, the topic is going into very interesting discussion. At least I agree, and I'm quite excited about. Only thing is that the questions are great from to the panelists, but the time limit is very short. So let us move on quickly to the next question. And that question is to Mr. Ravikran, and I would like to invite Ravikran on this. And the question is that nowadays we are hearing that there are more and more advancements about the automated factories, and we have been hearing about the digital twins also. So keeping that in mind, and the various technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning. So if you speak to these two particular concepts, so Ravikran, according to you, whether artificial intelligence and machine learning, whether this will contribute effectively to build the smart factories of the future, which is really the necessity for the business according to me. So what are your views about these two concepts, artificial intelligence?
My voice is audible?
Yes, Ravi.
Okay. AML is becoming very crucial and important in manufacturing industries. Maybe we have not given so much focus in the past, but if you see, this is also becoming a major strategical activity from IT point of view. AML in the manufacturing industry can be used in many ways, as Vimal also said that one of the main thing is which we can use in predictive maintenance, which can reduce the breakages or shutdown of the systems. And another major usage is an AML is in quality inspection, so that we can which we cannot see from a human eyes can be seen from a computer vision, and we can use this in quality inspection as well as. And we can also see this. We can also use in supply chain, where we can maximize this inventory loss, and with a good supply chain management process. So many uses. Another major usage in improving customer satisfaction, which I can note, is on if a customer is having a complaint, and normally what we do is we go to a dealer or a local guy where we will say that this is a problem we are having it. Now most of the tire companies are seeing that how we can increase the customer satisfaction by automating, or we can say digitizing of this customer complaints. For example, if somebody goes and says that I have a problem, then if I take a mobile and where I can, if I'm able to capture the stencil number or a serial number, which can be taken as a plain text and check in the backend system from SAP, whatever ERP which we have, and if I can get immediate warranty details. So that will be a great help for us, where we can see that whether when the customer bought this tire, where and all. Another is that defects management. For example, I have some bulge, side bulge, maybe I have some cut. So normally what happens is somebody from the tire company, inspector has to come and he has to check whether this is because of the driving issue or a driver pattern issues, or maybe sometimes the tire can be also a defect from a manufacturing side. So it will take some time. Maybe if we face this situation, maybe it will take 7 to 10 days. If this tire defects managed, it can be managed by AML, where with a computer vision, which are already where we feed many, like maybe a 5,000, 10,000 images. What are the possible cuts? Because we all have the already complaints with us. So if we can do a machine learning and say that this is a problem and this is a tire cut, or this is a thread pattern, and this will give this much mileage with the Bluetooth NSD gauges, it is easy to take a decision at that time. In front of a dealer, or authorized dealer can take a decision by saying that yes, this tire can be replaced, or with some good discount, we can take the tire back and give a new tire. So this will definitely improve the customer satisfaction. This is one of the biggest use case which can be seen in the tire industry, other than what I said about supply chain management, quality, and predictive maintenance.
Yeah. Very well said, right? In the interest of the time, I'm immediately jumping out to the next question. And before spelling out the question, I would say that Mr. Govind Singh, none other than Govind Singh, is the right person to offer his views on the question that I'm going to ask. So he's being the expert in this field. I feel that he is going to do a lot of justice to the question that I'm going to ask. So, Mr. Govind, the question is that with the advent of cobots, what, according to you, are the advantages and challenges of its usage in the industry? What is your opinion on that, Mr. Govind?
Yeah, so Rajeev, I'll share purely my own views. Am I audible?
Yes, you are correct.
Right. So cobot is like a co-worker in a sense. So I'm just trying to compare a co-worker with a cobot. Like a co-worker, a new person comes to you, then you train that person, and that person eventually helps you. And if eventually by mistake you bump into that person, he or she will not harm you. Exactly the same thing a cobot will do in a manufacturing environment, especially in the industries like packaging and automobile and all those kind of things. So basically, a cobot is the setup for a cobot can be done very, very quickly, very, very easily at a much lesser cost. Typically, I was reading somewhere, the cost of setting a cobot versus cost of setting a proper robotic automation there in that area in the manufacturing environment will be about 1/3 typically. And what is going to happen is this will actually eventually make automation available to smaller or to medium-sized companies as well. So and the cobots can be trained very, very easily. So they are like our typical home office kind of setup there, as we have those small computers which we used to have earlier, which can be used by our kids and all that. Now IT is just a commodity, so everyone is using it. That's a different thing. But you set up a cobot there, or you set up an environment, you train that environment yourself with the help of the manual provided there and all, and you are many organizations have got the ROI within 3-4 months itself there by setting up a process there. So that's how it helps actually. It is actually quite beneficial, I would say, in environments like packaging industries and in automobile industries and all that, where a repeated task, which is very precision required. Like for example, you have to cut some wires there. So like in a motor winding environment, so you are in a Tesla. I was watching a video of Tesla. So they are winding motors there, and they have to cut a lot of wires there. Now it's in a motor you have to cut some 200-300 wires there at a precision angle and length and all that. A cobot can do. So you just pick it up, put it there, and it does all those things automatically. So it helps quite a lot in that sense.
Good insight, and Govind, I think the benefit that cobot is offering and the investment and the setting up time, more and more companies are moving forward to use cobots. Is that correct?
Yes, in my personal opinion, indeed, especially organizations which are linked to packaging, even retailing also.
Yeah.
You know, when we are doing all that, but in heavy machinery, you know, heavy engineering, manufacturing organizations, probably it will be a bit of a tricky thing.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, without losing the focus of our today's discussion, we are discussing about spelling a bright future with Industry 4.0. So these are the views that we are gathering from the eminent panelists. So quickly, I'm moving to again to Mr. Ravikaran. Ravikaran, robotic process automation to hyper automation. Do you feel that this journey is helping the industries to a great amount with respect to advancement, and whether this is the future of industries in the years to come? What do you feel, or whether it is hyper automation is a very far-fetched for Indian industries?
Rajeev, by default, I don't think the RPA will take to new heights, or we will go to highest maturity level. So maybe I don't agree if we just take RPA without understanding what is the current process and the pain points.
Yeah.
So definitely it will not. Otherwise, it is waste of money, time, effort. I think
Yes.
RPA, one of the RPA disadvantages is the licenses, where we need to pay a subscription every year, irrespective of whether we are getting return of investment or not.
Yeah. Correct.
Identifying a proper use case in a proper department only will take us to that maturity level. Yes. Otherwise, it is not a good idea just because of board discussions, or as you said initially, of jargons and all. So let us not take RPA, because in one of the company we did not do well with the RPA. We tried to do our own asset management consolidation. We could not do it well because the manual process, which was not put properly. So because if the process is not there, our operational effectiveness is not there, I don't think even RPA can come and do wonders for us. So that is my short answer for this.
Yes. Thank you so much. I like that honest opinion from you. Appreciate. Now, again, moving to Mr. Govind Singh to get his views. A different question altogether, a different question that I'm going to ask Mr. Govind Singh. Mr. Govind, according to you, whether robots as a service is a good option for industries, considering the fact that robots are capital intensive, robots take time to establish, and robots can do certain high-end, high-fetched jobs. So looking at that perspective, do you feel that robot as a service will be the future of the industry, or the good option for the industry?
In fact, it's a very tricky and at the same point of time, very great question. Now, you know, SaaS, PaaS, and all those kind of things. Now we have RAS there, robotics as services. Now, one of the biggest reason a company would like to go for a RAS model is to reduce on the capital investment, because it's available. It's on the OPEX model instead of on the CAPEX model. Secondly, the setup time, you know, in a RAS environment will be far easier. Thirdly, there could be a large repository of the robotics processes and algorithms and all that, which may be available there to their clients. No, let's say there are many organizations which are providing this RAS as to their clients there, and their solutions may be available there on the cloud. It's like a document which you pay and then you are able to access that part. So the development time, process, implementation time for a new robot or to the automation of a particular line there in the manufacturing segment will become much easier. And in my opinion, you know, one of the things we would have noticed there, that in a manufacturing setup which is highly automated, like take an example of the same thing which I talked about, Tesla. You will be seeing a particular make of bots there, robots there in a particular line. Let's say KUKA will be there on one side, Fanuc will be there on the other side and all that. So I think RAS can help organizations there, you know, in that way also. Like I can have a KUKA and a Fanuc and you know, any other ABB and all those kind of bots there on the same line, because they all can collaborate there together, work very effectively and efficiently, even though their languages and their patterns and all those kind of things may be different, but they can still talk to each other by this platform called RAS there. So it will be beneficial. We can get the best of both the worlds there.
Right. Thank you so much, Govind, for your views. And one last question that comes to my mind, and I'm going to pose this question to Ranga again. So Ranga, having a great insight in the industry, senior most person in the industry, I would like to ask him a specific question. And we are still witnessing the impact of COVID overall in the economy as such. So looking at the trend of the industry growth from the sudden impact of pandemic, and now the economy is getting trying to get back to the normal. So do you feel that Industry 4.0 again will help to accelerate the growth of the industry? So what are your views, Ranga, on this?
My voice is okay this time. See, let us not talk about Industry 4.0.
Yeah.
Okay. First, we have to address three problems. Number one, manpower-related issues. Number two, hidden factory. That's what we do not know within our factory.
Yes.
Number three, what are all the processes or maybe different options where we need efficiency improvement. All these three are very crucial for that.
Right.
Number one, over and above this, customer is focusing more on reduction of cost.
Yes.
Quality.
Yes.
Number two, management is also in the compulsion of investing more on many other latest technologies. Having said that, if we put Industry 4.0, I will illustrate with an example.
Yes.
To eliminate the manpower, the biggest problem is quality manpower. Training them is a cost to the company. If you are trying to put the way Ravi Kiran told, if you are putting visual inspection in place, we are in a position to produce 100% good quality product going to customers. It means the chargeback from customer gets eliminated.
Right.
The cost of training gets eliminated. Number three, if you are trying to see the bottom line, which is crucial for the management, investing on this on Industry 4.0 will give the hidden facts which we are thinking that the whole of the plant or the assets which are put to use is working to its potential. We are getting the validation by way of collecting the data, machines putting sensors, etc., etc. So Industry 4.0 will help us in three ways: reduction, the elimination of wasted manpower. Number two, improving insights of the hidden. Number three, the quality of goods produced is also getting increased. So Industry 4.0 is a compulsion, and we have many use cases available in the industry. So if you want to go beyond boundaries, Industry 4.0 is a must.
All right. Thank you so much for your great insight. And I can say that Industry 4.0 is going to stay still, and it is definitely going to help to accelerate the growth of the industries. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to summarize today's discussion. And we started with the concept of Industry 4.0. We touched upon the fact that in the olden days, when it was not Industry 4.0, whatever happens at the shop floor, the person has to run the shop floor. Now with Industry 4.0, the connected world, get insight into the data, the slice and dice of the data which is assembled, which helps to get a good dashboard view and helps in decision making. Then we touched upon the concepts like artificial intelligence, the machine learning, and we also touched upon the cobots and the use of robots. We compared the use of cobots with the robots. Then also we talked about the impact of COVID and how did it affect and how Industry 4.0 is going to accelerate further the growth of the industry. So coming to the end of the discussion, I think we are all of the opinion that Industry 4.0 will have a bright future. It is going to spell a very bright future for the industries in the coming days too, for the Indian industries. Okay, so I would like to thank each and every panelist for their great insight and offering their views and having a consensus on the fact that about Industry 4.0 we're going to offer a bright future